Hey guys.
Hey, Romeos.
How we doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
It's Romeo Day.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There go the cringes. The cringes
At Romeo headquarters, yes.
Yeah.
Have you figured out why people cringe when you say that?
I guess it's because
They're jealous.
people. No, thank you. That's the best answer.
jealous.
Much better than any answer I could give. They're jealous.
It's always the answer.
It's the earworm. It's terrible.
Regardless of the
they
question.
wish they could be here. They wish.
Welcome back, everyone.
They wish they could be
Shall
here.
I be the nice person to say welcome back? We love to have you here. Please like and subscribe. It's our lifeblood. We love you. Now get off your fucking asses and like and
There we
subscribe.
go. There
Enough
we
of
go.
this shit. Let's go.
There we go.
Are we ever
Okay.
going to see consistently nice and kind Nuran?
Fuck that.
No.
Okay,
There
I
we
think
go.
you just answered no.
This is specifically for Philip. You know who you are.
No. This is for Philip. It's Romeo Day. Love you, Philip.
We just lost everyone.
Nice to see you guys honoring one of our loyal viewers.
Yeah, he is.
Cringe-free zone, baby.
Okay.
So, what are we talking about?
Guys, I thought it might be interesting for us to revisit an episode that was broadcast in November of 2024.
Okay.
Episode 35, for those who are interested, where we opined on the bromance between Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Oh.
And we questioned at the time who the puppet was in the relationship.
Yeah, we made some predictions.
We also made predictions about the bromance, how long it would last, so on and so forth. Now, we were also at that time, and it was a very successful episode, by the way.
Yep, people loved it. Love to hate it,
No,
actually.
it's love to hate. So we got some interesting feedback, largely from U.S. viewers and listeners
A lot of love for us.
who didn't
personally.
care for our position.
They liked red hats, didn't they?
I think many of them did. You are correct.
Yeah.
In any event, so I thought it might be interesting for us to revisit, given events over the course of the last week or so. It is clear that the bromance has ended.
Yep. Crash and burn, baby.
Crash and burn. And so I thought it might be fun for us to revisit that relationship
Let's
and talk about
revisit.
where it may go from here,
Yeah.
whether it's downwards, upwards, sideways,
And who
knows?
benefited, right? Like this happened. It's been, 6, 7, 8 months, right? So
Who benefited from
Yeah.
it, who may benefit or not in the future.
Yep, absolutely.
So you guys game?
Who's got the upper hand? Yeah, this is
Big
fun.
time.
This is I'm going to have a blast with this because
So I'm going to suggest there's no one better than Aki to get this kick started.
Of
there
course.
is, but
But maybe Aki.
Right out of central casting.
Yeah. And I think it might be interesting to spend a few moments talking about what led to the end of the bromance, the abrupt end of the bromance.
yeah.
The
Well,
game?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the cause?
Yes.
Okay.
Cause followed by effect.
Okay. So cause obviously is that look, Trump, Trumpers basically.
It's over.
It is over. It is over. It is over. I mean, what they're doing is they are putting together like a schizophrenic government, and it's reflected in this big and beautiful bill that they want to present.
Okay.
And so you really have to hold common sense, reason. You have to put it on hold in order to be able to understand what these guys are doing. And Musk, when it came to this bill, I mean, he sees, what a hypocritical exercise this is.
Oh, because he's not a hypocrite.
Well,
So okay, let's fast forward.
Right.
Or let's try and accelerate the pace.
right,
So who ended the bromance?
Musk.
I really say Musk initiated the breakup.
Yes.
Yes. we
Why
agree.
did Musk initiate the breakup? What did he react to? I agree it was absolutely to do with the big beautiful bill.
Right. Yep.
And what specifically did Musk react to that led to the nastiness that was followed by more nastiness and the rapid breakup?
The spending.
Spending, exactly. He was part of Doge, right? His whole
exactly.
raison d'etre in the government
Exactly.
was to lower spending.
Right.
And the big beautiful bill,
Does not lower
Was
spending.
a slap
in fact, what does it do?
a slap in
It
the
adds
face.
it adds to the debt.
Exactly.
Significantly.
Increase
Trillion.
to the American debt.
1.2 trillion, I think
Right.
it is. So, yeah.
And this is supposed to be about good financial management.
There's no stewardship.
But this is what he came on board for. And of course, for his own interests that were also very well served by this relationship.
Okay.
But-
So now it was a policy thing. So we're saying that all of this amazing bromance has been torpedoed by a policy rift between the two. Is that
Right.
it? Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons.
Now, guys, let me also say this. I mean, given the emotional, juvenile character of these two guys, but
now you're gonna start going
within
into
an
their
hour,
heads again.
within an hour, this could change. Within an hour,
No,
this
that
could
I
change.
don't agree.
You don't think so?
Actually, I agree with Aki on this one.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it can change.
I think it's done. No, it cannot. These are two egos. You cannot have
So
these two sides of egos.
let's try and bring some
Structure.
rational, common sense arguments into our positions.
Okay.
So whether you think the damage is irreparable or you think that there can be a reconciliation between the two, let's move away from the two specifically and look at other Trump relationships.
Yeah.
So Trump has had some adversarial relationships with individuals going back to his first term in office
Yep.
and the Republican leadership race. There were some pretty vile comments made.
Yeah, Marco Rubio,
Marco
for
Rubio.
example.
Well, that's one. There were many,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Ted
Cruz
Cruz.
and others.
That's because they have to suck up to it.
Okay, so in other words,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'm trying to get to. So
Exactly.
in other words, with Trump, there can be a reconciliation.
Yeah, if you have to suck up to
If
it.
you cave.
And he allows it.
And Elon Musk,
Of
And he
course.
allows it.
Elon
Of
Musk
course.
doesn't have to suck up to it.
Yeah, but Musk has the money and the required funds to fund the re-election campaign that's
Exactly.
happening
He
next
doesn't
year.
have to suck up to it.
Right, we're going to get, that's an excellent point. We're going to get to that in a moment.
Exactly.
So I just want to stay on this train of thought for a moment. So is it then fair to say that regardless of how heated Trump is with whomever, that if the other person makes concessions
Caves.
and caves
the ring.
and ultimately kisses the ring and demonstrates loyalty towards
Yeah.
Trump, there can be a successful
We
reconciliation.
know how the
I
story
agree.
goes.
Would you agree?
Agree.
Totally.
Okay, so your opinion is that Musk will never do that,
No.
but you agree that it's possible.
It is exactly. That's
But-
why I
but Musk
disagree.
won't do that.
Okay, so that's fair.
I
That's fair.
disagree. I disagree.
You
with that.
disagree. So,
I do.
So the only thing you guys disagree on is whether or not Musk will find it within himself
Yes.
to kiss the ring.
He will. If he needs to or if he wants to, he absolutely will.
He doesn't have
Absolutely.
to.
Well, have to. Okay. So now if Trump, okay, I'll give you a scenario.
Yeah.
And this is why I agree with Aki on this one. I'll give you a scenario. What if Trump changes his mind and says, okay, you're right, let's change. Like he does something that appeases
No,
Musk.
so here's the thing. What we know is that Trump rarely changes his position.
Exactly.
So
saying
already,
if.
already
Okay.
in the 24 to 48 hours that ensued following this breakup, what did we see? We saw Elon delete some of his posts.
Yeah, the Epstein posts and so on. Yeah.
And we saw Trump
The impeachment post.
leverage mainstream media in order to double down on his position.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen.
Correct.
Well, that's what Trump does.
Yeah. So
So he doesn't back down.
No. And he'll go and it'll keep moving forward.
And we'll see
Absolutely.
some indication that whether it was brought on by self-reflection or some of his close advisors, Musk has decided that it was probably in his best interest to delete some of his previously public comments. Right?
But they're out there still, obviously.
And
Deleting doesn't mean
I
anything.
think
Once
Well,
they're out.
it's an indication
Yeah, exactly. That is.
that he's willing to reflect on and alter his position, even if only slightly,
Okay.
whereas Trump is not.
and let's not underestimate stakeholders in all of those businesses that have had discussions with Elon Musk.
That's true.
That he has to come back.
Yeah, the boards.
And that's it.
All the boards of his
He's
business.
got to focus on the businesses. And I think he's come to that realization that he needs to do that.
What did he gain? I mean, just to your point. So I understand what you're saying. And if I'm a member
Yeah.
of the board of Tesla, I want my CEO, and considering the state of Tesla right
Yeah.
now and the declining sales and its share prices and so on, I want him to assume his responsibilities and address these problems that Tesla is facing. But can he not respond that look what I have influence. You know, that's the card that he can play. That he says that yes, I went to support President Trump, and I got more influence.
No, I think
you can't play that card.
No, but
with who?
Because
With his stakeholders.
I think I'm going to burst out in laughter.
Exactly.
Do you think that Elon Musk has an independent board?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Let's laugh. All right.
Elon surrounds himself with yes people because it's Elon's agenda, and he wants board members,
And he wants
Okay.
control of his companies.
So
Of course.
it's a moot point.
which he has,
Because
some are privately held.
yeah, and the
There's
others.
one,
agree?
there's one massive public
Dominic,
one,
you
which is
read
his sandbox.
It's just a rubber stamping board of yes people.
That I don't agree. Not some of the private companies, yeah, but like Tesla.
100%.
But his ownership, the amount of his
100%.
ownership
Yeah,
is
I know,
such
I
that
know,
he
but,
has
there's also-
sway over the
He
board of
demands a pay
directors.
package, they give it to him. He demands anything, they give it to
Well,
him.
they did try to. I don't know. I think
Because they held him in high esteem, and
I
they
think-
still hold him in
yeah,
high esteem.
But look, he didn't. Well,
It's about control, guys. He wants to continue to control his companies.
yeah.
And that's
Do you realize how lucrative it has been
Yeah.
for Tesla board members?
Yeah.
Do you think they care about much else?
they get stock.
And how
All the board
hard
members have stock.
do you think it is for Elon to change board members at Tesla? Do you think it's particularly difficult for him?
Not difficult. I agree, but
He just has to tweet it out to his followers,
Then-
and he's got what 20 some odd percent himself, isn't he?
And yes, and have you taken a look at who's on the board
No, who's on the board of Tesla? Tell us.
other than his brother?
So it's,
Other than Larry Ellison, other than come on,
isn't
guys,
Larry
look
Ellison?
at the profiles.
So Larry Ellison is just
a puppet.
a puppet.
Not
I
a
don't know.
puppet. He sees the world in a very similar fashion to Elon. He can relate.
Okay.
He's a self-made multi-billionaire.
Yeah. Oracle.
Do you think Oracle does things because board members or they do things because Larry Ellison
Okay.
and now the difference is Larry Ellison has surrounded himself with a very capable CEO.
Yeah.
But she's 100% on board and loyal. If not, he would change her.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, let's
he's completely
get back.
unaccountable, so that's what he's
let's
saying.
get back to the end of the bromance.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what would be interesting is for us to talk about. I mean, so we've talked about what led to the breakup.
Yeah.
What are the possible consequences? And Narin, you started touching on it, and I'd like you to expand on the thought that there's a midterm election next year.
Yep.
Exactly.
Musk has just reminded the world that he spent $350 million to get Trump elected, and in fact claimed that the reason Trump got elected and Republicans got majority in both the Senate and the House is because of his support.
And by the way, it took Trump, I think, a day and a half or more to respond to the crazy stuff that Musk put out there. So Trump actually
Was restrained.
was
To respond publicly.
exactly
Showed some
So he
restraint.
actually showed restraint, which Trump typically never shows. He's usually right on top of things. He actually showed restraint, and I believe the reason he did that is exactly for the reason.
So when did the shackles come off?
Well, at a certain point,
What was that point?
the Epstein file.
probably the Epstein.
the Epstein file.
The Epstein file and
the impeachment.
the impeachment.
Yeah. So I mean, at
So
a certain,
he knows how to trigger him.
yeah.
He knows.
So Musk knows how to trigger Trump.
Yes.
To your point. Yes, but the problem that the GOP and Trump have with Musk are his deep pockets. He said, "I'm never going to spend that money again." He mentioned one of the tweets was, "I should, I won't. I spent enough, or I'm not going to do that." Something to that effect, and that I think had a chilling effect on the GOP because there are massive amounts of dollars. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, and dollars win votes. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, in the U.S. system right now, when you have PACs and super PACs where you don't have to account for where the money comes from and you can spend unlimited dollars.
Sleaze galore.
So Musk has gone so far as to make a statement that I think from anyone else would be dismissed on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't dismiss it. And that comment is, this country needs a third party.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I was not aware.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
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 Because the existing or legacy parties are both completely out to lunch.
He is so fucking right.
Well, he's right, but he is also one person who may have the ability
To actually put
to
that
help
together.
establish
A third party.
a third viable party.
Yeah.
And if he did that, that would hurt Trump electorally.
Much more than the
Not
Democrats,
if
I
it's
would
a
think.
Tea Party.
If it's a centrist party, I'm going to suggest it's going to hurt both.
I agree. I agree. And finally, a centrist party in a place where it's so fucking polarized.
Because for all the theatrics, and I could be wrong, but I'll take a stab and say that Musk is a fiscal conservative
and a social liberal.
and a social liberal.
Yeah, a centrist, in other words. Absolutely.
So if you agree with that, then you understand what his motivation was to support Trump in the first place
Yeah.
and why he's reacted so strongly and negatively to the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
because
The
it goes
spending-
against all his why he got involved.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, all the pork, as he says, right?
So consequences for each. Keep going on the thought of midterms and
Yeah, so that's
how he might influence an outcome of the midterm elections
Well, what
that
you
could be
just-
very detrimental
Yeah.
to Trump's agenda. Forget the Republican Party at large, Trump's agenda.
well. If he starts fielding centrist candidates in these races, then absolutely it's going to siphon tons of votes off of, like you said, both these guys, and absolutely it's going to affect the outcomes. He will be able to actually affect outcomes. Like I said, it's the first time I heard this, so I'm still kind of mulling it over in my head. But I think it's spectacular, and I think that will scare the shit out of the GOP. Absolutely.
So I find it interesting when you reflect on how each one could neuter the other. With, we'll get to Trump in a moment. With Musk, it really consists of putting some effort behind ensuring that Republicans lose their House and Senate majorities
Yeah.
In the midterms.
during the midterms. So that's next fall,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? 2026, in order to ensure that Trump essentially becomes lame duck.
Yeah.
And the only thing Trump could do at that point is to try and double down on executive orders,
Yeah, but they'll be struck down.
which the Supreme Court may or may not agree with, depending on what the order is. But that's a high risk proposition for Trump. Very high risk.
So
And it would definitely tarnish his legacy to an extent that, I mean, it would totally damage his reputation.
I don't think he cares about
Are you
that.
trying to say that Trump will try to get Elon Musk to come back to his camp to avoid that?
I don't know. So he's so unpredictable. So what I'm
I think
focusing
yes.
on as a starting point
Yeah.
I think
is,
yes.
is Musk's opportunity
Yeah.
to hurt Trump. Now let's flip the coin over. There are countless ways in which Trump can severely hurt Musk
So
financially. Severely.
yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah.
You go first because I've got a lot on this too.
I think in terms of Tesla, he's already done that because there's no more grants.
Rebates.
Yeah.
Oh, so you think the I'm sure the numerous military contracts that were going to be
that's-
awarded to Tesla.
That's where I was going. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There.
I pull those off the table.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah, I know.
SpaceX.
So that's
Major.
yeah, that's
Major.
major. That's where I was going.
Okay.
That's where you
So
can hurt
let's
him.
go down the list.
That's where you can get. Yeah, in terms of the satellites as well, possibly.
So can I make a suggestion that the rest
Subsidies,
of the world,
grants. You go on and on.
the rest of the world, meaning let's say Europe, Western Europe, Central Europe, will, I think, step up. If they see that Musk is against Trump and is doing these things, I think the opposite effect is going to happen in Europe, which is what, a 450 million population bloc. And I think when it comes to government contracts for rockets and for the Starlinks and all
Very
the stuff that
interesting.
he's
I know
doing,
yeah.
I think there's going to be a backlash, a positive backlash out of Europe to support Musk in what he's doing with Trump.
Possibly.
Possibly.
I think there's a
he's
high probability
I'm
of that
not going to
happening.
disagree, other than to remind you that he went after certain incumbent leaders in Europe.
He did.
So,
Yes.
like most politicians,
Exactly.
they'll do what's in their best interest.
Correct. Exactly.
But I don't think you can entirely take that off the table, right? Because
I'm just saying it's going to soften the blow.
he will.
It won't
he-
negate it.
He could soften the blow. That's one angle. I agree with you. What about China?
Exactly. So now, if
Oh,
he's-
you mentioned
he's
Europe. I'm
already
saying,
in
what
there.
about China?
the same, Asia as well. So all of the blocks, even Russia, if he wants
No,
to.
but I'm talking China specifically.
Absolutely, he can help.
agree.
He can support China unbelievably well, especially from a high technology perspective with the Starlink, with the rockets, with SpaceX. If he starts talking about doing anything with SpaceX and China, that'll freak the fuck out of the US. Now, there might be some consequences, and you got to figure some of this stuff out.
Yeah, I think on the pure technology
Yeah,
front,
yeah.
I don't see it the way you do, because it's not that difficult for reasons of national security
To shut him down.
to shut him down.
Exactly. That's why
on that front.
That's why
But-
on that one I'll step back.
But there are other
exactly.
economic opportunities
Yeah.
that could be mutually beneficial to Musk
Well, look
and
how-
his companies.
look how much he
and,
taught them.
and China.
How do you think the Chinese electric car company manufacturing got to where it was?
Two ways.
Well, one way specifically was they learned from Musk.
Well, from American companies and Tesla in particular.
Absolutely.
That set up shop in China.
Absolutely, they learned.
And from all the competitive intelligence that they spy and steal
Of course.
globally.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
But Tesla did open their technology to everybody.
Yeah.
So,
No, well, some of their
yeah,
technology.
some.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, Chinese are not stupid people. These are
Oh, they're
Of course
not.
not. Brilliant.
brilliant folks, right? They know how to take stuff and they know how to assimilate the intelligence.
But-
And virtually unlimited
So
resources.
I think so. Getting back to what we were saying, yes, the U.S. can and the GOP and Trump can punish financially, can punish Musk. But first of all, he's got a huge cushion in the sense that when you're $400 million plus type of thing, even if you're down $100 million, you're still a $300 million man, right?
billion.
Billion. Sorry. Thank you. $1 million.
Jet lag.
No, million, billion, trillion. Okay. So yeah. So even if he punishes him by 100 billion, it's still, who cares? He's still $300 billion up, right?
To your point, Nora, I think.
Well,
Musk-
last week alone, he
lost,
over 35 billion
Yeah.
in net worth.
So?
doesn't change
So-
his life.
So here's
But to your point, Nora, I think Musk will do better than Trump out of this breakup.
I think so.
Well,
He'll come out-
it'll be interesting. It'll be
He'll
interesting.
come out on top. There's
So
no
who-
doubt.
Who's more powerful today?
Oh, Trump is more powerful.
Who's more influential?
Musk? There you go. That's
Everybody
up-
agree?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
What?
Oh,
don't you
yeah.
agree?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
You
that
think Trump is not as more powerful?
It's true that people now. I mean, voters and the Republican base right now, they're kind of, some of them are going on the fence.
It doesn't
given-
matter. The government is in place. It doesn't matter
No,
what the
so-
voters
so
think
guys-
right
guys-
now.
guys,
Well,
look.
what I mean, just let me finish. My point though is, if Trump, God help us, succeeds in his agenda, if he
Which agenda?
all his initiatives, the tariff war, the forcing the other trading partners to come to the table and negotiate on favorable terms, the war on migrants. If he's deemed if his,
What's wrong with some of these things?
Yeah.
I'm saying, if he is strong,
Some of us around this table agree with some of these initiatives.
that's another debate. But I'm just saying, if Trump right now, what's interesting is that I'm sure he realizes that what Musk has done is he has put more pressure on him to make sure that he delivers. Because if he does deliver, then he will be untouchable again. Now, if he starts faltering, if the economy continues to tank and people start turning against his economic policies and the big beautiful bill, then he's going to become vulnerable. But
Forget the big. It's clear at this point the big beautiful bill is not passing.
I'm saying that Trump right now,
Not as is.
Trump now he can put himself in a position. Well, guys, here are two things that I'm saying. One is that Trump can put himself in a position where if he's perceived to be successful, he rallies his base and the electorate. He's as strong as he's ever been. And Musk has all these other options that you guys talked about. So I'm talking about a draw. I don't see any of these two at their best.
There's no draw. There's no draw.
I don't see any of these two being able to dominate under these circumstances.
So I'm going to take a step back. Okay. So at least three of us.
It's an opinion.
So at least three of us. You didn't say it was a worthless opinion. There's three of us at this table who agree that Trump is the more powerful, Musk is the more influential.
Yep, agreed.
I don't agree.
I know. I said three of us at the table.
Okay.
Do we all see, or do the three of us who believe that see, how Musk uses his influence to take away Trump's power advantage?
He tries, yeah. Absolutely.
But he will not be able to do that.
The man is smart.
Yes, he can.
If
He can.
If you believe, which I do, that Musk can exert enough influence to turn both the House of Representatives and the Senate next fall over to the Democrats, then he has taken huge power away from Trump.
That is a big if. If Trump,
It's not that big.
If Trump is perceived,
What's the majority
They're
in
so
both
close.
the House and the Senate? It's not that difficult.
those Republicans,
Exactly.
those Republican senators and members of the House of Representatives, if they remain solidly behind Trump because they like what he's doing and he's achieving success in their eyes, Trump is going to be unassailable.
They don't vote for themselves. All he has to do is influence
He
the
can
American
win.
public.
If he shows that he's successful and he convinces people that he's successful, he's not going to lose in the midterms.
Musk has the most broadly deployed social media platform on the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's got what, 200 million followers?
He has more followers than
God.
yes. Yes. Do not underestimate this man.
He is God.
Do not underestimate this man.
Exactly. So Aki, I get your point. I understand. Hang on. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
I understand your point. The counterpoint that I'll make to that is it's all about people's perceptions.
Exactly.
Hang on.
I agree.
What we just said a few minutes ago is Musk is the most widely influential person on this planet. And if it's about perceptions, what we're positing, what we're putting forward is that he probably has a good amount of leverage on changing people's perspectives. And if he does so, to everyone's point, it'll be deadly to Trump and his people.
My point,
that's what we're trying to say.
My point is that Trump is a strong Trump. Don't underestimate
I'm not
the influence
underestimating him.
of a strong Trump. When Trump is on top of his game, okay, he is absolutely untouchable in the United States.
Wow.
Okay, hold on.
On top of his game.
Hold on. Stop right there.
Right.
He's for Trump.
I'm not for Trump.
Wait, guys.
No, I think he's garbage.
I have a few questions I want to ask Aki.
we're question period.
Question period.
Pat
Okay.
to Aki.
Absent Musk.
We should get a sponsor for this segment.
Absent Musk. Is Trump president of the United States today?
No.
You're not Aki.
Oh, sorry.
He was last time.
Yes. Maybe not. Maybe the margins would be different.
Disagree.
But I think
Disagree.
I think so. I'm sorry, guys. You're the ones we talked about.
The amount of money.
How lame the Democrats were. What a horrible
but he put
candidate they had.
$300+
You
million
make me
dollars.
laugh. You make me laugh. You don't think that if he had directed 300 million plus and all his influence behind the Democratic candidate, that she wouldn't be president of the United States today?
I think Trump would still win.
Totally disagree.
If he would, the House and the Senate wouldn't be his either. So all
Totally
of the downstream
disagree.
races.
Maybe, but he would win the presidency.
He's not wrong when he says that
made
the
him.
current administration is in place
Because of him.
Absolutely.
We constantly, in this whole story, we constantly underestimated Trump. Constantly. And
Okay.
every time he turns around and he surprises the world with significant electoral
I've never seen
wins.
Aki be so pro-Trump.
I'm not pro-Trump, for the record. I'm not pro-Trump. I think he's completely unfit to be president of the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yet,
I'm saying,
Yet
but objectively
he's a
speaking-
stable genius
objectively
in getting
speaking,
elected.
Objectively speaking, he's a polished master con man. He's history's best.
Wow.
History's
Touche.
History's finest con man.
Well, I don't know about history's finest. He's on the list, but I don't think he's history's finest.
So
I don't disagree with some of your later comments. Where I do strongly disagree is, so I don't think any of us underestimate Trump.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
However, you are underestimating Elon's
Musk.
influence.
Exactly.
I'm not underestimating. I'm saying,
That's
guys.
all we're saying.
I am saying, guys. Again, big if, and I don't think we're headed that way. I think he's going to crash. I think he's going to have some significant failures, and his base is going to start crumbling. I'm talking about Trump. So in that situation, Elon Musk wins hands down. I am just saying, my theory is, if he can show or he can present the way he always does, he can deceive people into thinking that he has been successful, continue lying, and people continue buying it, and he continues to be seen as being a winner, a successful president. He's going to be formidable.
Aki, the economy is going to tank with all of these tariffs. It's a matter of time.
I told you that.
I did not disagree. In fact, I said the same thing. So from my perspective, all of these tariffs, all of this big, beautiful bill, all this spending is going to fuck the country. And to me, he's going down a direction that's not going to be positive for him anyway. I think what's happening with Trump is going to be a hell of a larger headwind because Trump can mobilize
Musk.
Musk. Thank you. Musk can mobilize his people and his money to do a lot of damage. The fact that he talked about a third candidate, again, I did not
No,
know.
a third party.
Sorry, a third party.
Yeah.
I did not know about it before we started talking, and my head is spinning on this one because that is a fucking brilliant move if he decides to go there.
Yeah.
And I think just the threat of him going there is going to castrate Trump and the GOP to some level. I don't know what that level is yet, but I think just the threat of that is brilliant. This man he's a brilliant freaking man. From a strategic perspective, you don't think he's more strategic than Trump?
Of course.
Well, then how can you doubt that he can harm him?
I explained to you.
Yes, I know. Never underestimate.
No, success as well. I mean, the way he presents himself, Trump, the master manipulator, the way he presents
Oh my
himself.
So
God,
guys,
this guy is
guys,
like-
I think
you
we're-
got Trump on the brain.
So-
Listen, we're
not-
overcomplicating things.
Damn right.
I'm coming back to two aspects of the relationship that matter most. One is more powerful, the other is more influential.
Yeah.
If the influential guy, and I think three of us are saying we see this possibility, if the influential guy takes away the power from the other guy, he wins.
Or has the threat of taking that power away.
He has to actually take it away because so long as the other guy has power, he can do damage.
Yeah.
I think the threat also works.
The damage that the powerful guy can inflict on the influential guy is going to be near to midterm.
Transitory.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And over the longer term,
Doesn't matter.
it really doesn't.
It's Trump's battle to lose.
Basically, so Elon is saying, you know what? For 3 years, my net worth will come down by 50% until the next person gets elected, who I will influence, and I'll get elected anyway. So who gives a shit? For 3 years, instead of 400 million, I'll be worth 200 billion. Sorry, 400 billion. I'll be worth 200 billion.
He's got that in his checkbook.
Yeah,
his check account.
exactly. It's like it's the loose change in his pocket, for
exactly.
God's sake, right? So, sorry about that. Yeah. But you get my point, right? And I fully agree that Musk has the influence to wield that power over Trump, and I think he's gonna, like I said earlier, I think he's gonna have a level of castration available to him.
I love the choice of words.
And he'll use it, I think, more for the Senate and the House than for Trump directly.
Do you guys envision a scenario under which Trump can mobilize some of his resources to prevent Musk from exerting as much influence as he may want to?
Not anymore.
He can
Really?
try
Yeah.
with the FCC, for example. He can try.
FCC, DOJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can tie him up.
Government contracts.
He can tie him up. Government contracts is
That's
is
just money.
purely financial.
Yeah.
But if he directs the DOJ to investigate him,
Yeah.
uncover whatever crap you can,
Yeah.
that has a completely different impact and could lead to a very different outcome than the one we just described.
So Musk, but listen, Musk, in theory, if he wants to leave the U.S.
Yeah,
and leave
exactly.
the soil of the U.S., can at any time. He has the ability to hire the best lawyers on this planet 10 times over. He can stall anything in the court system for as long as he wants to. This is Musk. And he also has apparently information on things like Epstein and so on.
We don't know.
Whether he even has it, just the fact that he can say it.
Oh, he can say it, yes.
And on his platform that gets to 200 million people.
But those are comments. So if he's making things up, and let's assume for a moment that the things he's making up are not true,
Well, if it's defamatory, yes,
right?
I understand.
That could have a significant impact.
Well, it looks like he wasn't wrong on the Epstein front, just by the way Trump had answered the question that was asked of him last year.
There is a burden of proof.
Well,
In Trump's America?
So then Trump
these
has
days.
to.
Yes, if it's
So
against
Trump has to prove
yes.
it.
There's a lot of videos.
Okay, so release the files and let's see. He has the files.
What if the files are no longer in their original condition?
If they've been redacted? Okay, fine. Yes, so the conspiracy theories can come through.
Well, no, I'm not trying to spread any conspiracy. I'm just raising questions because these are possibilities.
But again, that's okay. So
they're possibilities.
You're moving into a different realm. Yes, there are possibilities. Let's leave those possibilities behind for a second. And
well, he will not leave if this escalates any further. Again, one guy has more power. He won't hesitate to use the power at his disposal.
I think Musk can muster up enough power to be safe, just through his ability to surround himself with the legal people he needs to. I think from a legal perspective, it'll take forever to do anything to Musk.
And we've seen a few examples of the court system, going against Trump lately. So there is that, check and balances occurring. So and that's gonna be on Musk.
I don't think Musk gives. I don't think he's worried about that from my perspective. I don't think he's worried about that at all. I think at this point, he's trying to stick to his guns from a spending perspective. He has a vision of what. It's kind of weird for a South African to have a vision of what the U.S. needs to be as an outsider, but it seems like he has a vision of where he wants the U.S. to be. Maybe it's for prosperity's sake. Maybe it's so that he can find a way to get us to Mars. I don't know what the motivation is behind all this, to be honest. Why does someone who's worth $400 billion do this? That's another question we can ask ourselves.
Because he can.
That's it.
He can. Because he has a big ego.
Yeah.
Well, but think about it. Like, he's focusing his energy on trying to make America a better republic, a better place. In part, by doing what is a good thing, by reducing spending, by not having all these programs that are out there, all this spending that they've.
Look, simply stated, he's one of the few people on the planet who is so wealthy that he can drive his personal agenda without being an elected official. He can drive his personal agenda and make it
how to shape the planet.
Right. Not just the U.S., but the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is,
or maybe the universe.
We'll see.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So all this being said, first guy to blink has been Musk.
True.
Well,
Which means that he's at least had somebody whisper in his ear,
Yeah.
think of the consequences of what you're doing.
Yeah. Don't poke the bear anymore.
The guy can hurt you in ways that you don't want to be hurt right now. And by not staying the course, he's indicated that his position is not, I don't care. His position is, I need to back down somewhat.
Yeah. Let's cool down the temperature a little bit. Okay.
is that really blinking?
It is.
Well,
particularly for guys with oversized egos.
Yeah. To Trump, it's blinking.
Because you mean it as a sign of weakness? Because I don't think that.
No, I don't think either guy is weak.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that someone reminded Elon of what Trump's power can be used to do to him.
Yeah.
And he probably thought, okay, this is probably going to cause me to have to allocate time and resources to things that are deterrents to what I'm trying to accomplish.
Agree.
That's how I see it.
Well, look at the rocket thing, right? He said, "Oh, we're going to stop with the government contracts," and he said, "Oh, okay, I'll just cancel the Dragon program, so you won't have a way to get to the space station anymore, unless you use Russian rockets." Right?
He's got a lot of cards in his deck, so.
And
he does, but they're not. So again, I don't think there's any question as to the influence this guy exerts.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised even.
But look, the president of the United States is the most powerful individual on the planet, and this particular president more so, because
all the executives,
the heads of all the major agencies and departments are all loyalists.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're all
completely unaccountable. And I also think that I would not be surprised if he didn't throw Dodge at his face as another attack on Musk. I trusted you. You failed in this. You didn't deliver. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays that card as well.
Why did he fail?
Well, what did Dodge accomplish? It was supposed to be $1 trillion in savings. Where's the
no,
billion?
it started at 2.
$2 trillion in savings.
Then it was readjusted.
Then it was readjusted and
to
so
one?
forth. So forth.
And
so
they
that's another
delivered?
card. That's another card. So when you
30
talk
billion?
about, so when you talk, I could just see Trump.
Yeah, but it's
I could just see Trump, going ballistic and really like ravaging him badly if he really wants to.
In what way? Money?
Well, you're such a, yes, exactly.
Money doesn't matter to him.
I bring you in, I trust you, you don't deliver, you fail.
What is that? Those are
What
words.
does this
No,
mean?
no,
You talk so
that's
you talk so well about spending and controlling spending.
Yeah, but
and
those
you give
are
all these
words.
speeches. You're
Who
opposed.
cares?
You're opposed to my bill. You had the opportunity to make a contribution.
Words. These
you
are
did.
words.
yeah, that
What makes Trump powerful? It's his words that resonate.
No, that's where I disagree with you. I totally disagree with you. I think at best his words will have a reputational impact. That's nothing. I believe mobilizing Department of Justice,
Exactly.
IRS.
That's of course.
That's
part
what's-
and parcel.
That's what could really hurt.
Exactly.
Really hurt.
Yeah, it's not about what he says. It's about what he does.
Guys, do we agree that the guy is like
Wow, you really
he's
look
a
up to
machine.
him.
I'm not looking. Okay, again, I'm not looking up there. We're talking about mafia here. We're talking about mob bosses. He's a mob boss. He's a very, very accomplished and
You have a lot of
powerful
respect for
mob
him, though.
boss.
You seem to have
And
a
maybe
lot of
that's not
respect.
being disrespectful to the mob.
Nothing wrong with that.
Careful, careful.
Hey, I was just in the States. They let me in and out. So.
We kill for less.
Be careful there.
So I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody has.
I'm going to bring him a red hat.
So at
next
this
time.
point, so if you look back on the relationship from beginning to present, do you feel that one of them in the end was a puppet?
I think they both had each other's head up their asses.
yeah.
Listen, so
That's a different puppet than one on a string.
So for a while, they both benefited. So I think it was a symbiotic relationship. Whereas Musk helped Trump get the House, Senate, and the election for himself. On the other side,
Okay, let me rephrase the question there.
okay,
Based on what's transpired, the way events have unfolded, do you feel that one was used more than the other in order to support the other's agenda
yeah, Musk was used definitely
to a greater extent?
to a greater extent. However, Musk did benefit,
Not a question.
but
That's not the question. If
Definitely,
they benefit. I'm saying
right?
who was used to a greater extent.
Yeah, well,
Oh, definitely, Elon Musk.
Okay.
because of the results of the election.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happened since then was Trump trying to support Musk, as you saw when he was trying to sell Teslas on the front lawn of the White House, right? There was an attempt of Trump.
Small potatoes
Of
by
course,
comparison.
of course.
So all I'm saying is,
Yeah, so Trump
they
is-
obviously each went into the relationship initially with some expectations.
Yep.
When we first tackled the subject of the bromance and who is the puppet,
So
it wasn't so obvious
Yep.
who would end up being the puppet.
Yep.
And by puppet, I mean the one being used to a greater extent. My view is that reflecting back on it based on where we stand today, that could change over the coming weeks and months.
yep.
Based on where we stand today, I believe that Elon ended up being the puppet,
So Trump won. To Aki's point.
right?
Yeah.
So I agree with
Bullseye.
that. Yeah, I do agree with that.
So as much as they're both hypocrites,
Can we
and
all-
they both have self-serving agendas,
we all agree then.
that there was more genuine intent on Elon's Musk,
Absolutely.
right? There was greater integrity,
Yeah.
not a word I usually use with him, behind his agenda than there was Trump's.
Oh,
Got to agree with that.
totally agree. That's
Aki?
I agree with that.
So Trump won this. So round one of this bromance goes to Trump. Can we say it that way? Because I think in 6 to 8 months we're going to see.
Oh, the situation could change
We're-
dramatically.
It's going to, and so I predict, and if we go back to the predictions from episode 35, we had talked about a 6 month, or I know I had talked about a 6 to 8 month kind of.
You don't have
window.
a memory. How can you remember that?
I remember that.
He has a selective memory.
I have a very selective memory
Footnote.
because I remember saying
Asterisk.
that there's going to be a 6 to 8 months
did.
before they break up.
You did.
And I was spot on. So what I'm predicting now, and let's see if my prediction goes to the third one that we're going to do 6 to 8 months from now, is that I don't know if there's going to be a reconciliation. I think there's going to be a reconciliation phase. But depending on how that works out, we might, I mean, this whole third party thing, just again, it blows my mind. And I love it. And I think that would be an amazing, amazing path to go down. And I got to read up a little bit more on this thing because it's new to me. But yeah, I think there's going to be a third phase to this. I don't know if it's going to last 6 months. It might last a little bit shorter amount of time, maybe 4 months or something, 3 to 4 months. So I'm thinking between 3, 4, 5 months from now. So by the end of, before the end of this year, I think there's going to be a shift. And I think we're going to have to be talking about it again.
I think they're done.
No, I don't think so.
I think they're done.
Okay.
They're done. I think those two egos can't be together. And it's as simple as that. And if it's a third party, I think Elon Musk is going to go that way. That's what he's going to do. Because he's not going to support the Democrats. That's never going to happen.
I think the threat of the third party is what's going to potentially bring them closer together.
I'm going to disagree with you because I think that it's unrealistic for there to be a third party formed before the midterm elections. So if the U.S. were ever to get to a third contending party, a legitimate party, it would take at least 1 or 2 election cycles to build and to develop that party.
Yeah.
If Musk really wants to hurt Trump, not the Republicans, Trump, then he will influence the outcome of the midterm elections, and his only option there are either Republican candidates who are not MAGA supporters or Democratic candidates.
Or independents. He might go to independent route.
Yeah, I don't think there are that many independents that...
They could come out
Well,
of
he
the
could start.
woodwork.
He could start towards the path of the third party by
They
saying
wouldn't-
these independents will eventually become the Musk party.
Yeah, but the result is the same in that even if that were a possibility, generally the independents will side with the Democrats on policy issues.
No, he can.
So anything...
Well, he can push them towards the centrist Republican agenda to funnel off the centrist Republicans, which are, I think, 30-40% of the Republicans.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. I think it's...
To me, it's a possibility. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Anything right now is a possibility.
Well,
We're talking
exactly.
about likelihood.
We're making predictions, and to me, that's to me the threat of that is what's going to bring him closer to Trump.
Flipping the House and the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of success is far greater if he goes with the obvious candidates, which is the other party, and he doesn't need that many to flip.
True, but I'm kind of thinking
Like
like
handful.
Dominic that he's not going to go with the Democrats.
There are centrist Democrats, guys. Like I'm
that's
not
true.
talking about the
it's
AOC
possible.
camp. I'm talking about centrists, but he has to do it in a way where the outcome is obvious.
Okay.
Right? There's no likelihood these people are going to support Trump. That would be the mindset.
Yeah, and for the Senate anyway, you just got to target a few of them. I mean, even
Because
for
any
us.
third legitimate third party he's conceived of is centrist anyway.
Guys, I remind you
It's the
that
people at the margins that are irritating the hell out of him and others.
don't discount the history of third parties in American politics. It's a disaster.
Let me finish.
It's Ross Perot. Good for you.
No, those are not third parties.
Yeah.
Those are independent candidates. That's not what, let's be clear, that's
Okay.
not what Musk
Fair.
is referring to.
Okay.
He's not talking about putting forth an independent candidate for the presidency. His comment clearly is that the two existing parties are operating at the margins and we need an
Centrist.
alternative.
Yeah.
Right. So that's to be determined.
And I think if it can be pulled off, I think that's brilliant because I've said often, the only way to effectively govern is from the center.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'll say again that if Trump right now is even more motivated to accomplish his agenda, and he wants to be, he understands his ego being what it is. He understands that that Musk is absolutely a dangerous adversary that he has to crush. And I think that he is on a path to do that, to make sure that he has the strongest political hand possible. His influence could be at its all-time high and keep Musk at bay. That's what Trump is thinking, and I think he has the ability to pull it off. And he certainly has all. When you're talking about the United States Senate, I would say the non-Trumper senators, you can count them maybe on one hand.
Yeah, but that's enough for him not to be able to get some of his agenda passed. Right? We're seeing it with the big, beautiful bill.
Exactly.
Right.
That's enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then the flip side,
So I've never seen Aki so pro-Trump in my life.
He is
so it's been
a
fantastic.
monster.
Yes. But you love
Unfit.
you think that he's the most brilliant politician you've
I
ever
don't
seen.
think-
Hold
I
on.
think-
So was Shrek, and you
the
like
most
him.
shameless, most shameless politician.
So at least we've learned how much love Aki has for Trump, which is pretty cool.
oh, it's his birthday. I better remember that. Put it on my calendar.
There you go.
Remind
right,
me,
guys.
Naran, okay? The 14th, I think it is, please, if you don't mind.
We're gonna wrap things up. Final
Yeah.
thoughts, Dominic.
If I was a betting man, I'm betting with Elon Musk. I think his battery there's a more of a charge left there than Trump.
Yeah. And I think this is like such a sad and tragic distraction of all the issues that we're facing. If we had reasonable, legitimate leaders, at the helm, it's just a shame of opportunities missed.
Like
Pretty entertaining, though.
Like Mark Carney.
Yeah.
Mark
Like
who?
our prime minister.
Mark who?
Like our prime minister.
Naran.
Okay, so my prediction for the future on this one is that there's going to be another tectonic shift in the next, let's say, 3 to 4 months. I don't know if it's going to go further away, if they're going to go further away from each other, or if they're going to come closer together. We'll see. The third party thing actually is, to me, is a hell of a lever to use, either to bring them closer or to get them farther apart. So we'll see how that moves. I think that right now, Trump has won up until now, to your point earlier, Pat. But to your point as well, Dominic, I think Musk has a lot of powder left in his bag, and he can deploy that powder to make a hell of a big bang against the GOP should he wish to do that. So I think because of that, he still has influence and the ability to get shit done. And I don't think he gives a shit about how much money he loses in the interim, because he has so much of it, it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to say, whether you're an American or an interested third-party observer, fasten your seatbelt, because it's going to be one hell of an entertaining and bumpy ride.
Yeah.
Whether or not it turns out to be exciting is a different matter, but certainly something that is must follow, must watch.
Yeah.
That's
and,
good.
And Aki, I'm glad that you have so much respect and love for Trump, and that it's finally come out. So,
Excuse
wow,
me now.
he finally won
I have
you
to go
over.
vomit.
To our viewers and listeners, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. And guys, we look forward to doing it again next week.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Bye.